Welcome to Room for More Art, a dialogue series where we sit with architects and designers to explore spaces through the lens of art and design. This episode is powered by Decoraids, making interiors more thoughtful with their smart wall panels and ceiling solutions that are as practical as they are beautiful.
Hi, my name is Jeet. I'm the founder and principal architect at Jetsons. First of all, thank you so much for having us over. It's really happy to be a part of this conversation that we're having with you guys. So thanks. So we are an architecture interior design and practice. We are based out of Mumbai, Kandivali. Uh, so our practice is like 5 years old. Currently, majority of the projects that we are working on are interiors. Like we do residential, retail, commercial, all sort of interiors. At the same point of time, we are pitching for a few architecture projects in and around Bombay. In few places like Karjat and Lonavala. We are also pitching for a few facade design elevation options. We are doing a few competitions. We are also coming up with a line of furniture. So we are doing a few things in back. To be honest, I was not someone who's really fond of art since quite a while. But I think once I started getting into the industry where I first worked at previously, I think that place really helped me understand the importance of how important art is in a particular space. So I used to work with Muse, and Josefa Jassim helped me out with that. At the same point of time, till you don't see a blank canvas, I don't think you really appreciate what art can do to that canvas and how art can add really some, I would say, value to the picture frame that you're seeing in front of you. So I think so, yes, I learned that during my work experience days. I would definitely not say that it's just an accessory, because we have had clients who've got art pieces, uh, like which were there with them like prior we did to their home, and we have designed spaces around that whole art piece. Like for example, we had a client but bought an art piece from Bali, which was like a 5 feet by 7 feet art piece, which was in blue color. It was like a streetscape, and we created a whole bar unit around it. Okay, so I really feel that art is definitely not an accessory. If you pre-plan your art really well, which we recently have started doing for a lot of our projects, I think it can definitely reflect the space in a very, very better format where, it's more cohesive with the look and feel, with the whole vibe that you're trying to create inside it. So yeah, I don't think it's just an accessory. It plays a much wider role than that for sure. One of the most recent projects that we did in Mumbai, it was a 4 BHK residential home in Ghatkopar, where the client asked us to collaborate with this artist called Ashna, and her brand is called Any Living. They are based out of Ahmedabad, and she helped us create like 3 artworks, where one was an iteration of the plan of Ganga basin, which was divided into 3 artwork pieces, which was a part of the dining area setup. Then we did another round circular artwork, which was in the bedrooms, which was more private and intimate in a terracotta color and a stitch format. So her USP is more of hand stitch and handcrafted embroidery thing. And the whole ideation behind that is what I think led to the whole cohesiveness of the house, because the whole house is sort of a Japandi minimal sort of house that we've created. So the artwork is something which is more Indian and earthen, which would sort of go with the whole idea of the Japandi housing that we are going with, but where the whole artwork brings the warmth in the house in a natural format of very Indian format. So that was the whole idea. So what we tried doing for this is we before we even start our project, we tell our clients that, for example, today you tell me that, my budget is 10 rupees. Okay, we will not ask our client to spend the whole 10 rupees with the contractor. No, that's not what we do. So what we do is we do a reverse, I would say like a reverse engineering, where first we tell the client, like for example, out of the 10 rupees, the first 6 to 7 rupees is what you want to spend with your contractor on site, which will take care of all your plumbing, electricals, mechanicals, blah blah blah. Once that is done, then we keep the other 3 to 4 rupees separated out. Say 0.5 we keep for plants. Okay, the other 0.5 we keep for accessories. The other 0.5 we keep for wall arts. The other one we keep for, say, any extensions that come in the project. So when you explain this to the client, I think that's when they if they know it in the pre-phase as well, with every stage which they move ahead, they start imagining the space with, what a wall art piece could do. Like, for example, if you're keeping a wall art in a living area where there's no television set, okay, it's just an engagement area of, say, 2 sofas, 3 lounge chairs, and you put an art piece over there. It creates a point of conversation. So that is, it creates a conversation, a point of stop, I would say, uh, which I think people don't understand. Until you make them experience that, I think that adds to the value. So we tell them to go through this process with us from the day one. And as you go ahead from, say, the planning to look and feel to 3D, they start imagining the space better. So I think it's very important that you start include them in the process from the day one itself. Not, you cannot do a last bit कि चलो ये दीवार खाली है इस पे wall art लगा दिया. You cannot do that, and you should not. Yes, definitely, because I think something in a residential or say some in someone's home would be more personal to somewhere to something that would be in a commercial or say in a healthcare too. Like in a healthcare, you cannot have something which is more intimate artwork or say which is more personal or say something which is very extremely solid or I would say which is maybe too loud. I would say you need sometimes things which are maybe a little more muted tone. Okay, which people would it's easy for people to interpret. And definitely see art is something which is very individual subjective. Some people understand it not, but we know that a few artwork uh, can be more personal when it's in residential. Okay, you can do what you want, you can have that scale, you can give that space of breather in the home. But for example, in a commercial space, you cannot do that. You need to have your restrictions where uh, what do you want the people to perceive when they're in that space. For instance, uh, one of the best example I see is how artwork is there in Ahmedabad itself, man. I feel the way people have literally preserved artwork. You see Ahmedabad, you see, I would say Chennai, amazing cities, man. Like you guys really know how important it is to fill spaces with artwork, and for that fact, even Bombay, I think people do appreciate artwork there a lot. So I feel that as an art advisor, it's very crucial for you guys to come into this play where there's this gap between a client and a designer, which I think you guys can bridge really well. Like for example, today if I know my client does not understand the artist or the kind of artwork that should be in that space, a advisor could come in place like a consultant exactly, and they would actually tell them that this is what would suit, this is what we can do, and this is what would optimize or look better in your space in terms of the look and feel or in terms of the character that you wanted to portray or the story that you want to narrate in a very simple word. An advisor in that point of time, when a designer, for example, if a designer tells you that this is the color palette, this is the look and feel that we are looking at, and this is the storytelling that we have stitched around the house, maybe that's when you guys come into the picture that we have 10 sort of designers who go with this theme, and you can pick up someone from this and you can pick up their stories because you know the back end, you have done the research, you know your history of art, correct? And there would nobody be better than you guys, who would be even better than us ideally to suggest the right thing to the client and to us. So I think yes, that's how I think you guys can bridge the gap. Our client got us in touch with Any Living and Ashna, and it was such a smooth experience. So we gave her like wall elevation that we had and the artworks that we wanted, and we also sent her actual side picture that this is where it would be and this is the approximate size. So she created the artwork of that custom sizes, and she got things stitched, cut into pieces, and then she sent it over exactly and better to what color combination, stitch fabrics, everything that we wanted. And the whole experience was so smooth that I could not imagine that an experience with an artist would be such a beautiful thing where we would actually telling her the story. We had Zoom calls with the client of the artist. We were narrating the story. We told them this is what the client said, this is what I like, and this is what I liked from her work. So actually the client wanted to create a house which was minimal and like I said, it was more Japanese based, but at the same point of time, the artwork was the highlight of the whole house, where all the artworks are Indian. Like all the art pieces are from India. So one artwork was from Nadwara, artwork was from Ahmedabad. A few were her old artworks which were intimate to her in her own different areas of library. So we sort of the artwork was the element of stitch in the whole house, whereas the Indian touch to the whole Japanese look and feel that you created. I definitely think there is need for awareness, because not to say that we are quite aware of it, we ourselves are somewhere, are at a stage where we are learning to be in touch with more of artwork. Like a very simple thing, like, these bomb, like recently there was this art fair which happened in Mumbai. Okay, there is currently an art fair while we are talking, which is happening in Delhi. I think such fairs and events are very crucial for a normal individual who are interested into arts, designers who are interested into arts, uh, to go and attend such events, be in touch with galleries. Okay, so I think there has to be a step where, there has to be a point of communication, I think, which should be established between the designers and the artist, like, to bridge that gap. Okay, where it's more of an easy access today. Like, for example, a very simple thing like how people now have basic awareness of, say, like more of fluted glass, more of, say, laminate, the kind of veneers. How? Because there are more stores, there are more people coming out to reaching out. Art is something which is very subjective, because today, when in the Indian context, I think it's very different. When you tell people about art, people think that art is more expensive. No, art does not need to be expensive. It's the process sometimes which goes behind it for years and years which makes it expensive. You need to find the right kind of artwork which suits your pocket and your look and feel. And there is an artwork for everybody. You just need to find it.